Good evening. I call to order the regular business meeting of the Lakewood City Council on May 13th, 2024 at 7:01 p.m. For those that are watching us digitally on any of our online platforms, you can connect with the council reading to leave comments on lakewoodspeaks.org and also watch on video for lakewood.org council videos. For online public comment, we will have that Lakewood Speaks open tonight and through tomorrow until 10 a.m. So whether you're here in the audience, don't feel like getting up and making comments in front of the world real live, you can do lakewoodspeaks.org from your chair, or anybody joining us at home, or even those watching this first thing in the morning on, what would that be, Tuesday, May 14th. They will still be open until 10 a.m. That is an online forum for public comments, so feel free to leave your comments there. And anyone who would like to address the City Council will be given the opportunity during a number of different times throughout the evening, some that are related to specific agenda items, and then in the latter part, for those that are here this evening to speak on anything that's not on the agenda. We'll be opening up that later. So will the clerk please start us off by calling the roll?
Strom.
Here.
Olver.
Here.
Mayacarero.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Ryan.
Present.
Sharzai.
Here.
Labure is absent. Nystrom.
Present.
Lowe.
Here.
Cruz.
Here.
Sinks.
Here.
Mayor Strom, you have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, and if you are able, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I would ask you to stand if able, and we'll remain standing for just a moment after for a moment of silent prayer. All members of the City Council have the responsibility to comply with the terms of Charter 7.2 Prince B and excuse themselves from voting on any matter in which they determine they have a personal, financial, or business interest. The City Council is empowered by Charter 7.2 Prince B to agree by unanimous vote, excluding the member at issue, to excuse any member of the Council from voting on a matter in which they determine such member has a personal, financial, or business interest. And with that, I'm very excited to be able to open up our evening this evening with a proclamation designating May as Mental Health Month. Do we have it? We have down there. Okay, let me hand it up. I will be meeting, let's see, we have from Jefferson County Mental Health, Jefferson Center, sorry. Angela Resman here for the Solid Ground Apartments, and Councillor Stewart will be reading the proclamation to us this evening.
May 2024 Mental Health Month. Whereas good mental health is essential to the overall health and emotional well-being of all children, youth, adults, and families, and promotes a healthy community. And whereas 1 in 5 people in our community experiences a mental health condition each year. And whereas 16.5% of individuals in our community experience substance use disorder each year. And where increased focus on the prevention of mental health conditions and substance use disorders amongst children and adolescents through screening and early intervention helps improve lives. And whereas the stigma against mental health conditions and substance use disorders prevents many people from accessing care. And whereas when mental health problems and substance use disorders are detected early and treated, people can recover and maintain a healthy and independent life. And whereas the City of Lakewood is dedicated to improving the health and well-being of its citizens by ending the stigma and focusing on the integrated role of mental health in all of our lives. And whereas the City of Lakewood calls upon all of its citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to recommit our communities and resources to increase awareness and understanding of mental health, provide appropriate and accessible services for all citizens, and make mental health a priority. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City Council and the City of Lakewood, I, Wendy Strom, Mayor of the City of Lakewood, Colorado, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim May 2024 Mental Health Month.
We want to open the floor for you to say a few words if you would like. But first, on behalf of all of the residents of our city council, I just want to thank you for all the work that you guys do to help our residents and our community get healthy and stay healthy, and now even housing as part of that. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Strom. Hello, City Council members. My name's Angela Resman, and I oversee our new Solid Ground apartments at Jefferson Center that are here in Lakewood. On behalf of everyone at Jefferson Center, from our dedicated board and staff to the wonderful people we have the privilege to serve, I want to thank you for declaring May as Mental Health Month in the City of Lakewood. Mental Health Month has been a cornerstone of advocacy since it began in 1949, serving as an important way for us to start conversations about mental health, break down stigma, and provide critical resources for mental health care in our community. As a nonprofit community mental health center, Jefferson Center is deeply committed to providing comprehensive mental health care, substance use treatment, and a wide range of resources to support the well-being of our community every single day. Each year, we touch the lives of more than 27,000 people, thanks to the power of partnerships with over 150 community organizations like the City of Lakewood. Through these collaborations, we strive to make mental health care more accessible by meeting people where they are. Jefferson Center is incredibly grateful for the wonderful partnership with the City of Lakewood over the years. In just a few weeks, we're thrilled to open our Solid Ground apartments in Lakewood, providing safe and stable homes for 40 individuals who will be exiting homelessness. This project has been quite a heavy lift, and with the amazing support from the City of Lakewood, we have carried this project together. Maintaining good mental health is fundamental to overall well-being, and it's something that affects us all. Like mentioned in the proclamation, 1 in 5 people will experience a mental health condition in any given year, and this is where your support for Mental Health Month becomes truly invaluable. By raising awareness and combating stigma, we can create a community where seeking mental health support is met with empathy and understanding. Lakewood's support is absolutely vital, and we deeply appreciate your recognition of Mental Health Month and your ongoing partnership with Jefferson Center. Thank you for your commitment to mental health awareness and for standing alongside us in creating a healthier, more resilient community. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, if you have nothing else to do tonight, I would invite you to stay and watch the rest of the meeting. Okay, moving on this evening, we now have the consent agenda. So we will go through that. Do we have, first of all, any counselors that have items they'd like to pull from the consent agenda this evening? Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Mayor Strom, I move for the approval of the City Council minutes. Order all ordinances introduced on first reading to be published in the Denver Post with public hearing set for the date included in the ordinance, and for adoption of resolutions, all of which are included in the consent agenda and introduced into the record by the city clerk.
Second.
Is it okay to have it now read into the record? I jumped the gun a little.
It's fine.
Okay. Mr. Clerk, could we please have the consent agenda read into the record?
Thank you, Mayor. The consent agenda consists of the following items. Item 6, Resolution 2024-25, approving award of funds under 2024 Lakewood Youth Programs Grant. Item 7, Resolution 2024-26, approving award of funds under 2024 Lakewood Community Grant Program. Item 8, Resolution 2024-27, authorizing the city manager to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Colorado Department of Transportation for grant funding for lighting and raised crosswalks along the 40 West Art Line and West Line Bike Path. Item 9, Resolution 2024-28, reappointing Laura Krieger to the Metro Water Recovery Board of Directors. Item 10, Resolution 2024-29, authorizing the city manager to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Colorado Department of Transportation for the use of federal funds for improvements along Wadsworth Boulevard between West Yale Avenue and West Eastman Place, and between Jefferson Avenue and Mansfield Avenue. Item 11, Resolution 2024-30, authorizing the city manager to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Colorado Department of Transportation for the use of federal funds for improvements along Sheridan Boulevard between Jewel Avenue and Florida Avenue. Item 12, Ordinance O-2024-11, declaring the intent of the city of Lakewood to acquire interest in property for public purposes for the construction of a shared use path along the extended alignment between South Reed Court and South Pierce Street, and authorizing negotiations with the property owners, acceptance of conveyance instruments, and condemnation of real property interests, subject to further council approval. Item 13, Ordinance O-2024-12, amending Title 17, Article 4, Section 3, Supplemental Standards for Accessory Dwelling Units. Item 14, approving minutes of those city council meetings. City council special meeting, April 8th, 2024. City council regular meeting, April 8th, 2024.
All right, thank you very much. So now is the time in the evening that we will open public comment on the items, the resolutions on the consent agenda, as well as if anyone wanted to make any comments about former meeting minutes. So with that, we've got 7 people signed up here to speak in chambers this evening. We also have, 18 that have made comments online through Lakewood Speaks. Again, that is available even throughout the evening. So we'll start this evening with Mr. Sean Lopp, then we have Steve Otto, and then Daniel Mondragon. And when you come up forward, if you could speak your name and your ward, or your name and your address, please, and you've got 3 minutes.
Great. Thank you, City Council. My name is Sean Lopp. I am here representing Friends of Paha, which is one of the potential recipients for the Youth Community Programs Grant. Friends of Paha works with the City of Lakewood's Camp Paha, which is a unique summer camp that exists to serve youth and young adults here in the City of Lakewood and the surrounding Denver metro area who have disabilities. So these are youth that cannot attend regular summer camps, maybe because they're in a wheelchair or they have special medical needs such as feeding tubes or seizure disorders, or a variety of other reasons that camps elsewhere have said no, and Camp Paha exists to say yes to them. As you might imagine, Camp Paha is pretty expensive to run in order to accommodate all of these needs. And so what Friends of Paha does was it was founded in 2003 to provide scholarships and financial support to families who qualify for camp but cannot otherwise afford to send their children or young adults to camp. So we're very grateful to have your support this summer, helping those families and residents of the City of Lakewood attend camp. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Steve Otto.
Good evening. My name is Steve Otto. I'm with the Kiwanis Club of Belmar. We're happy to be here along with several members of our Kiwanis Belmar Club to personally thank you for the award of $2,000 to our foundation for the purpose of awarding scholarships to graduating seniors from Alameda High School. We've done this for a number of years, so we appreciate your support for us to continue that program. Our scholarships are not limited to four-year colleges, but can also be used for community college or trade school. These funds are paid directly to the school for the student's account and therefore used for books, tuitions, or fees. Thank you very much for your award.
Thank you. Daniel Mondragon, then Linda McCow, and then Tammy Fisher.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Mondragon. I'm representing Hands of the Carpenter. Our offices are located on South Golden Road. I am here tonight to express my gratitude for the existence of the Lakewood Community Grant Program and the Lakewood Youth Programs. We are excited to have had the opportunity to apply again this year and to be recommended for funding from the programs. With the funding that we received last year, we were able to make a significant difference in the lives of single moms and their families. We serve working single moms, keeping their cars running so that they can keep getting to work and keep taking care of their families. In 2023, all across the Denver metro area, we served a total of 609 women and their families, a 70% increase over 2022. Women served in our 2 core programs and also in a new ancillary offering that we started last year, giving women the opportunity to get a complimentary oil change and assessment of their car so that they can meet us, make sure that they trust us, and also we can get to know the car and say, yes, we can take care of this car, or perhaps need to help them think about getting into a better vehicle. Of those 609 clients in our core programs, 60 women from Lakewood were served with their 123 children ranging in age from 4 months to 18 years old. We served them one time or multiple times if they entered into our long-term program. This represented 17% of all of the women that were served in our core programs. Lakewood continues to be the city in Jefferson County from which we draw the greatest number of clients into our programs. Amongst all of the cities across the Denver metro area, only that little city to the east, Denver, came in higher at 28.7% of residents in our programs. And Aurora followed Lakewood at 15.4%. So we are so grateful for the opportunity to continue to be of service to working single moms in Lakewood. Thank you.
Thank you. And briefly, while Linda's on her way up, oh, go ahead. This is a new grant program for us. I thought I'd just put out a reminder or to let our attendees know that aren't familiar with this. These are funds that actually came by virtue of the sale of the Broncos that are now earmarked for programs across our city that are dedicated to meeting the needs of our youth. So we are very excited. I guess I can't speak for everybody up here, but it's really fun to hear that money is going out to all these great places in the community. For anybody that wants to learn a little bit more, it is available on Lakewood Speaks. Linda.
Great,
thank you.
Good evening. My name is Linda Miko, and I am a forensic interviewer and a manager at Ralston House, which is a children's advocacy center in Jefferson County. And we serve children, we do forensic interviews on children who may have been a victim of a crime or a witness to a crime, along with providing victim advocacy support to them and their families, as well as pediatric forensic medical exams. And we really appreciate the support of the City of Lakewood that we've experienced over the years. And to be considered for this youth program grant, we are really appreciative of that. So thank you so much for your ongoing support. Thank you.
Thank you. Tammy Fisher, then Devon Myers, and then Lizzie Dowd.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Tammy Fisher with Brown Bag Ministries. We're a mobile food pantry, but 10 years ago, I started in motels and seeing the kids in the motels. That started me taking the kids out, taking them to the pool. What started with a handful of kids, I have a lot of kids, like almost 75 kids. So this money has sewed into so many children's lives, from going to the mountains where they've never seen Colorado. They have them, don't see outside of the motels on Colfax. So you've allowed us to travel all over. Go to the zoo, we've got Elitch passes. This year we're going camping, fishing. So you have blessed, and not just blessed them, but a memory for them to grow. Like it's amazing. It's amazing to watch these children. And this is all because of you guys. So I say thank you. And the kids, I told them, they said, will you go speak for us? I said, I will. Every year I will. As long as you do it, I will take, and we want to double that number. So we're praying for a bigger van. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Devon Myers? Devin?
Hello, I'm Devin Myers, and I am the sergeant in charge of our juvenile crime unit at the Lakewood Police Department. Our unit is comprised of 2 detectives, 1 civilian technician, and we have 5 school resource officers. With that in mind, I know a lot of media tries to portray us as a school-to-prison pipeline, and that's something we try to show that we do other things besides give kids tickets or arrest them. With that in mind, we handle kids at the lowest level possible, and we have several programs that we do throughout the year to get involvement and get kids working with us and build relationships. Our first program that we have coming up here at the end of the month is our Youth Police Academy. So those are for kids who are interested in law enforcement, or for those kids who maybe have had a couple contacts with us and we're trying to strengthen our bond with them. This year on our agenda, we've got some pretty cool things. We've got Air One coming out. They get to go to the drive track. We do some team building activities. We go to Bear Creek Lake Park. And the kids have a blast, but feeding 20 kids, especially teenagers, is pretty expensive. And everything is either funded by donations or out of our own pockets. We also have our Discover the Blue program, which Agent Martinez in the back actually runs. We run it currently 2 times a year, but we're hoping to expand that. And that is for kind of our lower risk kids who have never been outside of the city. So we take them on hikes. We'd love to take them go-karting, pumpkin patch, sledding, anything to get them outside of their zip code, because a lot of our kids haven't been outside their zip code. So we're trying to show them, hey, we're people too. Hey, here's the things you can do, and you're not confined to this bubble where you are currently. The last program we run is our Shop with the Cop, and that is all of our special needs kids at our mainstream middle and high schools. We take them to Target, and they get, hopefully this year, $100 to spend on whatever they want, which is generally on their family members and not themselves. We give them pizza, they have pictures with Santa, and they just make a whole event of it on the first Friday in December. So it's a really great time. And then on top of that, we would love to fund 2 $1,000 scholarships to anyone who has or is attending one of these programs. Just like the other scholarships, wherever you want, trade school, college, I don't care as long as it helps you. So I want to thank you all for considering funding us for this money, and it eases our burden greatly. Thank you.
Thank you. And Lizzie Dowd. Lizzie Dowd.
All right, hi, my name's Lizzie Dowd. I'm here representing the Greater Colorado Council, Boy Scouts of America. And we have an education facility called Colorado Adventure Point, located right off of 6th and Kipling. And we are open to scouts and non-scouts in the community, and our goal is to create better leaders and give them the experiences, give youth experiences that help them better prepare for future and create really lasting memories. So we appreciate being able to receive funding from the City of Lakewood and being considered in that as we work to expand our programs and better serve youth in Lakewood through providing scholarships and reduced funding for our summer day camps that we have coming up that are STEM and technology themed, as well as providing free or reduced field trips for schools during the school year that are either free or reduced. So we appreciate the opportunity, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have anyone here in Chambers that wishes to speak on the consent agenda? I'll just write you down.
Good evening, Mayor Strom and City Council. Nice to see you. My name's Pam Breyer. I'm the CEO of the Action Center, And I'm here on behalf of our team and the many volunteers of the Action Center and all the community members who we support throughout the year to say thank you for the consideration of the support for the Action Center and the Community Grants Awards. The Action Center has been around for 55 plus years, serving our community with compassion, turning compassion into action. We provide services to over 30,000 households a year. We've seen those 30,000 come to 58,000 visits this year. The numbers of folks in our community who are experiencing hardship, unfortunately, is growing, and the Action Center is here to meet them with compassion, without judgment, and to receive their need and to provide immediate relief. We do that with our 3 tiers of service. We have immediate needs services like our free food and grocery services, our clothing bank. We provide a mailing address to those who are unstably housed. We help them apply for benefits. We give them transportation and vouchers for birth certificates and IDs, all in our immediate needs services. Our next tier of support is our stabilization services, where we provide financial assistance like rent assistance, utility assistance, an emergency bill pay program. All of these programs together help keep people and keep families whole, keep them housed, and keep them thriving as best we can to get them back on track to stability. And then our last tier of service is our most intensive service. It's our supportive services program, and that's our family coaching service. And in the family coaching program, individuals and families identify their own strengths and their areas where they need greater support. And we walk beside them, helping them to get those needs met. We work with them on issues like finding better jobs, finding better childcare, helping them go back to school if they need to do that to increase the income coming into their household, helping them connect to behavioral health services. Many of our partners are in the room tonight, and we appreciate all of them. We work in deep collaboration across the city, but also across all of Jefferson County and increasingly Metro Denver to meet the growing needs in community. So this support is incredibly helpful to us. It will help us to provide additional groceries to the many who are coming to us. Pre-COVID, we were seeing about 80 households a day coming to the Action Center for those immediate needs services, and today we're seeing on average about 295 households every single day. So that's how much the need has increased, just the increased costs of living in our community, the inflation. So we are just incredibly grateful, as always, for Lakewood's partnership and support in this work. We know you have our back and we have yours, and thank you so much for what we do together. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on consent agenda items? No. Okay. Council, any additional discussion on the motion? All right, we'll go ahead and vote. So a yes vote is passing the consent agenda. All right, and that passes 10 yeas, 0 nays. Moving on to item number 15. Will the clerk please read item 15 into the record?
Item 15, public hearing and second reading for ordinance O-2024-9, declaring the intent of the city of Lakewood to acquire interest in property for the public purposes for the replacement of traffic signals and pedestrian improvements at the intersection of West 8th Avenue and Sims Street, and authorizing negotiations with property owners, acceptance of conveyance instruments, and condemnation of real property interests, subject to further council approval.
Okay, thank you. And for this agenda item this evening, there is there is information available on lakewoodspeaks.org, including a presentation. We do have our Director of Public Works, Max Kirschbaum, here for any councilor questions. With that, what we'll do is, well, actually, can we first have a motion, please.
Mayor, I move for the adoption of ordinance O-2024-9 on second and final reading.
Second.
All right, thank you. I will now open the public comment. And with that, is there anyone, I don't have anyone signed up here to speak on this particular issue. Is there anyone in chambers that wishes to speak to this issue? Nope. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and close public comment and open it up to council comments and questions. Do we have any council comments and questions this evening? All right. With that, motion has been made and seconded. We'll go ahead and cast our votes. Oh, does it? I didn't clear, sorry. There we go. All right. Item 15 passes 10 yeas, 0 nays. Item 16, will the clerk please read item 16 into the record?
Item 16, second reading and public hearing for ordinance O-2024-10, authorizing the conveyance to the Public Service Company of Colorado 2 non-exclusive permanent utility easements on property owned by the City of Lakewood and located adjacent to the Civic Center.
Do we have a motion on this item?
Mayor, I move for the adoption of ordinance O-2024-10 on second and final reading.
Second.
All right, thank you. I will now open the public hearing. And we do have Director Travis Parker and Mr. Jeffrey Wong, our Senior Sustainability Planner, here this evening when we get to council questions that can be available to answer questions. In the meantime, do we have anyone here that would like to speak on this item? I don't have anyone signed up front. All right. So then we'll open it up to council comments and questions. Councilors, do you have any comments or questions on this? Councilor Olver and then Councilor Ryan.
Hello. I was just wondering why would we do this? It seems to me that charging stations are popping up all over the place, and Lakewood has nothing to do with that. And so why do we have to do something extra to get a charging station outside outside our building here? Yeah.
Thanks for that question, Councilor Olver. The city has an adopted sustainability plan, which includes goals for increasing the amount of renewable energy that we consume, as well as lowering our greenhouse gas emissions. And as part of those goals and action items, we are looking to increase access to electric vehicle charging.
Yeah, but that doesn't explain why we should be giving up an easement to Excel. Yes, they agree with your goals, but there are six charging stations right underneath us here in the parking garage. And there was nothing that came up about those. And so why would the ones out here be different than the ones downstairs right underneath us?
That's a great question. The chargers downstairs are dedicated for the City of Lakewood's fleet charging, and the chargers that we are proposing that would be part of the easement are meant to be publicly accessible for Lakewood residents and anyone that comes to visit us.
Oh, well, I was thinking for a second. I don't know why, I just don't understand why we have to give up something like the easement that goes on for, and it's 15 feet wide, right? The easement we're talking about for Excel to run a power line, of course. It's just, all right, my background is oil and gas, and I happen to know that when we built, we're going backwards now, when we built the railroads across the United States, we gave them mineral rights and maybe even the land for 20 miles on either side. And so that continues to this day, that the railroad companies own an incredible amount of mineral rights all the way across the United States, 40-mile wide. And so to me, to give something up to Xcel just to put in a charging station when we're seeing them everywhere going in, I don't see why we should give up anything. Can you explain that? It's a tough one, just to reach a goal. We're reaching our goal. I see charging stations everywhere. We're reaching that goal. So, but we're giving up something on this one, which I'm afraid is going to come back to bite us at some point.
Is there a question? Sorry.
Sorry. Well, yeah, I mean, can you explain why we have to give up something? And why we couldn't do it without giving them an easement? There would be a good question. Why can't we do this without an easement?
Currently, there isn't the infrastructure to support an electric vehicle charger. That would be a DC fast charger, so higher power than the one that's out here right now. And to accommodate that infrastructure, Xcel would need to install a new transformer and connecting infrastructure to support that EV charging.
So the 6 chargers downstairs are not fast chargers, but the ones outside the chambers here would be fast chargers?
That's correct.
And so they have to run a line out there, but they didn't have to run a line down below?
There was existing electrical capacity for the chargers in the garage downstairs for our fleet chargers, but for this level of power that's needed for the DC fast chargers, we would require Xcel, or Xcel would need additional power and a new transformer to support this charging.
Okay. Thinking forward, what could go wrong? I'm just worried something's going to go wrong down the road, and Xcel is going to come along and have us over a barrel. And so, hypothetically, what could go wrong from your side?
It can be difficult to hypothesize what can go wrong in the future. However, in this agreement, Xcel both owns and maintains the chargers, so the city of Lakewood is only granting an easement. If there are any maintenance and operations issues within our site host agreement, Xcel would be responsible for those.
Councilor Ryan.
If I read this correctly, there's no cost to the city in terms of getting these chargers installed. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Councilor Ryan.
And so Xcel, however their money is, whether they got federal grants or something to build these or not, there's no out-of-pocket from the city.
That's correct.
And the easements are non-exclusive easements, not exclusive easements, correct?
That's correct.
So, and this is perhaps more of a comment than a question on my next piece, and it's certainly no criticism of the city. It's more of a criticism of Xcel. My past, I've represented utility companies, and so to hear a utility company take a pretty strong line to say that they can't negotiate an easement seems a little bit arrogant on Xcel's part. I'm disappointed that Xcel refused to allow the easement to expire at the end of the contract. I'm disappointed that Xcel refused to even agree that the easement could only be used for a specific purpose. Now, practically speaking, given that it's only 15 feet, there's only so much you can put into that easement, so I guess I'm not overly concerned. But I'm just very disappointed with Xcel. I hope, though, the question that Councilman Over asked, what could go wrong, and I don't know that anything could go wrong with this particular contract, but what I hope the city position will be if Xcel says, this is what you gave us last time, that we should push back and not say that this is some sort of precedent by agreeing into this contract, because Xcel should allow its easement to expire at the end of the term. They have no more use for it. frankly, something that'll just linger on there with unknown consequences for that. The other piece that I'm a little bit, it's not a deal breaker for me, but it's kind of cute, if you will. Xcel is, at the end of the contract, will take their above ground charging facilities back and walk away, and we're left with whatever's in the ground to deal with. And so those are the things that I'm a little irritated about, but I think overall the benefits of this agreement outweigh it if we don't allow Xcel to use this as a precedent moving forward. So thank you.
All right, do we have any more discussion? Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. With that, we'll go ahead and cast our votes. And that passes 10 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you, Mr. Parker, Mr. Wong. All right, this is the point in the meeting where the public is invited to address the City Council on items that did not appear on this evening's agenda. All comments should be directed to the City Council. Would ask that those speaking this evening would also follow the rules of decorum. No audible disruptions, things like that. This is a moment in time where our speaker has the floor, and we want to make sure that everybody's assured the opportunity to be heard. So if you do have any handouts for council, please leave them up here with the city clerk, Mr. Rob, and he'll make sure to distribute them to our city council following the meeting. And I do have 2 names on my list. If anybody else would like to speak this evening, you still have the opportunity to do so. Mr. Rob, do you have a sheet down there to sign up with?
I don't think so.
Do you want this one back? We have Mr. James Mace and then Ms. Connie Reddick. So if anyone would like to speak that has not signed up already to do so, they can do so up here in the front. And a reminder to anyone that's attending virtually this evening or anyone here in chambers that would like to say public comment, not get up in front of the room, lakewoodspeaks.org. You can still go in this evening and add comments there. Mr. Mace, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm here tonight to mention a couple things. One is our crime rate has gone up again, and it's not going down. I am sick and tired of coming up here and seeing council do nothing. I have also witnessed some things from 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to bring it up because I've been asked not to, but at this time, I am appalled. I am very angry with this council. And I'm not going to bring up the people that I'm angry at, but Mr. Mace is here to clean it up. So, Mayor, I have one question for you, and I'm going to leave it at that. My question for you is, who in their right mind has taken power out of your hands to end a meeting from 2 weeks ago? So I am leaving it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mace. Ms. Reddick.
These are the laws that Jared Polis brought about, and I'm asking you the same thing once again, to abide by the laws. And I came here to come and tell you about an EPA law, and Roger actually called my building, and they broke into my apartment and took videos and went through my boxes and things, which they didn't do to anybody else. And they try to say there wasn't bugs in the apartment building, but there was big trucks that were spraying into the building. And I've come in here how many times complaining how it all had to be sprayed. My doctor has wrote them several letters about me being bitten. We got somebody to come and put powders and stuff like that. I have to put lavender oil on my dog. Before I come here, I have to do this whole thing with creams and everything, so there isn't a spread. It has caused my health to go down. And so when I was here to speak to all of you on this issue, and I also send out electronic messages to MetroS and everybody that was involved, and they had 92 hours to do something, which they haven't did. On top of that, the building has got a copy of my mailbox, and my mail doesn't come to me. I've gotten letters pinned onto my door. I send another letter. They don't give me letters that I can read because I have visual problems also. And so, and I complained about them breaking in and taking things, and they were never to go into my apartment under the ADA laws unless they made an appointment with me. They haven't fixed my oven door since Thanksgiving because they haven't made an appointment, but they're going to go into my apartment. When Roger called them up and told them that I was here complaining about bug infestation, I couldn't even invite my family because I didn't even want them in the building. I mean, when I can't live a healthy life, when there is a law also, the warranty and habitability law, which states that you have to live in a safe, healthy environment. I have problems with the wiring in the walls that hasn't been dealt with. Anything that I bring up hasn't been dealt with by anybody. And according to the laws, under the ADA laws, warranty, HUD regulations, discrimination, I have been discriminated. They did do this for a white man that complained about a scratch on his floor, but have they changed my rugs where a lady's intestine exploded? No, I have to live in danger of my health, and yet I have tried to move out of those buildings, but they haven't given me the paperwork. I had 4
Ms.
houses
Reddick,
I
your
could have
time
moved
is up.
into, and nothing has been done. So all I want to say to you is, as a Christian, and the law, there's no Democrat or Republican that doesn't go by the laws of Christianity. I am a Christian and I haven't did anything, but I'm at the point I'm going to go to a lawyer, and everybody that have broken the law here all the way down, they always have
Ms.
said
Reddick, your
that
time is up.
I am somebody that reports everything. Yes, I'm going to report it, and when it happens to you, how will you feel when your families have to suffer like I do? Thank you.
Mayor, I have Joan Poston signed up to comment.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, City Council, and I am impressed at how you've gotten through this, and we are now having public comment at a decent hour. I also am hearing that we are trying to do something about public comment, and there was an incident 2 weeks ago that James won't bring up, but I will. When speech is suppressed, that is an anti-democratic thing. And when you look at what you're doing with public comment, I want you to keep that in mind. So with that, I want to tell you what I have been observing down at the Capitol for the last 120 days. First of all, there was close to 700 bills passed. I am sincerely hoping that you are not going to try and beat that record with your regulations here in the City Council. There were 3 bills that I was very interested in. One of them was HB 241313, and that is a bill that addresses housing on corridors, transportation corridors. And that was also a bill, 1343, and that was to give money for the housing on those transportation corridors. And I just want to say to you that there's a lot of different debate, and there's still a lot going on. And there are people who are suing both Denver and the state of Colorado over some of the language that is being put into these affordable housing bills, because they are making requests for things like only electric appliances and that kind of thing, and the developers are not very excited about that. The other thing I'd like to do is say that there was a bill that was dropped rather late. It was 1463, and that bill wanted to regulate tap fees. And I want to tell you that 2 of the city council members came down to participate in the testifying of this bill, and I appreciate that. And I do believe a lot was learned about water rights, water in Colorado, and how we have to manage our water. So please, before you get too crazy, recognize that there are some opinions out there. The Denver Post has a very interesting article about ADU units, and 7 News is doing an investigation on the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless and some of the things that have happened with that group. And you might want to know how closely the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless is aligned with your recovery works. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Poston. Mr. Robb, do we have any more?
Mayor Shum, I don't have anyone else signed up.
All right, do we have anyone else in chambers that would like to speak this evening? Okay. With that, we'll move on to general business. However, we actually have no items for general business, so we will skip past that one. Ms. City Manager, we are on your executive report.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things. First of all, I really want to punctuate a couple of meetings that are coming up and really encourage you to attend these meetings. The first one is just next week, and that's on the 20th. It's a virtual-only meeting. The LRA meeting's at 6 o'clock, and at 7 o'clock, we're going to have a study session. Again, it's virtual only, with 2 updates from 2 of our city council committees. The first one will be the Budget and Audit Board, and there'll be an update on their work, and the second one is the Housing Policy Commission. Both really important updates. Also, if you'd please mark your calendar. We've gotten a lot of questions about how the county is dealing with homelessness, and also there have been some questions around the school and the disposition of some of these surplus properties. The Board of County Commissioners is hosting their quarterly meeting, and this one is the upcoming one is Thursday, June 6th, and it's at 7:30 in the morning. It's held over at the government buildings, the county buildings. Would love to see you all there. If you can't make it in person, you can also join remotely, and we'll make sure you have that information. I believe we've been asked to give an update on any potential election issues, which any of the agencies may be deliberating. Also talking about the issue of homelessness across the county and what the county and the different cities are working on. And finally, I think the schools have been invited as well to talk about updates as it relates to the disposition of the school buildings. All really important topics that I'd like to really encourage you to attend. Again, that's June 6th, which is a Thursday at 7:30 in the morning, and breakfast is provided, so that's a thing. And finally, the final meeting I'd want to draw to your attention is on June 14th at noon. This will be a joint meeting with Lakewood City Council and the Board of Education. We've heard from several of you that you're able to attend, and we'd love to get all of you if possible. That'll be a really nice opportunity to have a give and take with the Board of Education. We haven't had a meeting like that for several years. At one of our recent executive sessions, you expressed an interest in having this conversation. The location is TBD, so we'll let you know as more details are worked through. And again, that's June 14th at noon. I'm guessing there'll be a lunch provided in there. A couple of other pieces of information that I think you'd be interested in. Several people on City Council were approached by both members of our U.S. Senate as well as our Congress folks talking about the Community Project Funding Program. And we've been informed from Representative Pedersen's office that one of our applications has gone through to the Community Project Funding Program. So this is not a decision yet. And Representative Pedersen got to select 15 of the projects from all of the different agencies, and one of ours made it. So I'll let you know as we continue to learn. The project that was sent forward was our request for $2 million for the Colfax Safety Project Phase 2. We don't have information yet on our 2 requests on the Senate side. So when we get that information, I'll for sure let you know. And now with some really good news. Jefferson Green, do you know where Jefferson Green Park is? It's on, that's a trick question. It's on 333 Southfield Street, and they have a new playground. So those kids are gonna have a great summer. The community in that area was able to help with the design of this playground in 2023, and it's in place. So that's pretty exciting for the folks around there. And the park has a variety of play features, encouraging activities, inclusive of multiple age groups and abilities. So kids can climb, it's getting late, kids can climb the tower enjoying 3 twisty, turny slides and take in the views. So that's pretty cool. Happy for our community that get to enjoy Jefferson Green. Also, we have a new interactive map, and it's called the Capital Projects Map. It's now available for employees, but also for our community, our residents to view and understand the city's traffic, roadways, sidewalks, drainage ways, utilities, water meter replacement area, and miscellaneous capital projects going on to 2026. So that's just finished being developed, so you can access that on our website. That's pretty exciting, both for to be used internally and externally. Our latest community outreach court was held on October 5th, and I think that's the wrong, nope, October 5th, and we had 37 participants. Yeah. And I think that's the wrong month. I think that was April, actually. There's an edit issue here. But we had 37 participants, and that's really a good standing. That's a good showing for our community outreach court. Those folks continue to do amazing work. And finally, the city has submitted a grant application to the Department of Energy for a little over $12 million to support development and implementation of a building performance standard program in Lakewood. This is in alignment with our sustainability goals. And so we've just submitted that. We're asked to apply over $12 million, and that'll move us a long way as it relates to sustainability, energy reductions in our buildings. So I'll let you know what we hear when we hear that. And with that long report, that concludes my report. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hodson. Can we entertain a question?
Yes, of course.
I just wanted to ask if you could kind of highlight the upcoming slash facility that you mentioned to me?
Yes, thank you. Okay, I am sorry I didn't get that information in writing, but Councilor Nystrom and I had a conversation, when was that, a couple of weeks ago, and she asked about the slash facility. Forgive me for not remembering to include that in my report. That the slash facility that the county is developing is called the Tin Cup facility. It's over in Rooney Valley on the other side of C470, and it's well underway, and they're hoping to have it open, I want to say by the end of June, at least for phase 1. Does that track with what I showed you, Councilor Nystrom? Okay. What I'll do is I have a fact sheet from the county, and I haven't reviewed it for a couple of weeks, and forgive me for not having that. I'll just send that to everyone. They intend to have a formal update. We haven't received that yet. So in its place, I'll send a draft update on that site. And once we get the formal update from the county, I'll send that as well. This is a wonderful program. We've heard from our community for years now of the importance and the need for a slash facility, so people don't have to throw their waste just in the trash receptacle. So this will be a really wonderful service. It serves the entire county, but it's located very close to Lakewood. So that's a nice benefit for us. Again, I'll send out the draft update, and when it becomes formal, I'll send that out as well. And thank you, Councilor Nystrom, for reminding me. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're switching things up a little bit this evening. I'm going to go into, I'll give you a couple minutes as to why, but the mayor usually follows with the report, and actually what we're doing is I'm going to be giving my mayor report first, then we'll move on to ward meetings. What I wanted to do is start this evening by explaining in our last business meeting in the latter part of April, our city council, those of you that tuned in noticed that we adjourned prior to actually completing that night's full agenda, and I wanted to say a few words about that. Since then, I've heard a number of questions from community members about what had transpired or concerns about why adjournment was voted on to begin with. For those of you that watched the meeting remotely tonight, wanted to share out a little bit about that, because what happened in city council chambers was not discernible for anybody that was, or even clearly not clearly discernible for those that were not actually in this room. So as the chair of this meeting, my priorities really are twofold. One, to make sure that the business that is needed to be done by the city is getting addressed. And secondly, that we do so in a way that focuses on the safety of our counselors, our staff, and every single attendee that walks through these doors. 2 weeks ago, that safety was not something that I felt was secured. Because there were not microphones in the audience, for those of you watching at home, this would not have been apparent. Tensions were high, and disruption got to the point that I felt we could no longer maintain a safe environment in this room. By the time you all observed the vote to adjourn the meeting, the order and the respect that we all rightfully expect from a business meeting had completely deteriorated. Arguments have no place in this room, and 2 weeks ago, that's what happened. Each week, I ask our community members, did it earlier tonight, to show up with respect for the rules of the meeting, and that includes not speaking out of turn or being disruptive. I hold each of us up here to that same standard. In fact, as your elected officials, I and probably all of you hold us to an even higher standard. In our policies, it is my responsibility to maintain order when a speaker becomes disruptive, and that your city council is up here in a respectful, fair, and listening way. So in addition to asking our community member attendees to respect the rules of this room, tonight I'm also asking every single one of your city councilors to help by modeling that highest level of civility that we can. Because the city, our residents, our meeting attendees deserve a meeting that goes down in that way. So I want to thank all of you that have reached out to ask questions, trying to better understand what happened. I did watch the video personally, and watching it as an outsider, not actively involved, it did not make a lot of sense. So wanted to take some time to let you know a little bit more about the background there. As the chair of this meeting, every single week, I want to assure everyone here that your safety and the civility in this room are at the top of the list. And I'm sorry for those of you that saw otherwise 3 weeks ago. So as I continue to hone my skills in managing these very complicated meetings, I ask that our community member attendees and that my co-counselors join me in a focus on creating a more civil environment in the meetings to come. And with that, I will say thank you, and I'm going to say 2 brief things, and then we'll start handing it off to our counselors for our ward reports. We have a lot of graduates. And I'm not going to cry. For those of you that don't know, I am the mother of a soon-to-be high school graduate from Bear Creek High School. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge and honor all of our graduates from high school to Red Rocks Community College to CCU to RIMCAD. We have a lot of young folks in our community this month, that are moving out into amazing and exciting new chapters of life. Whether it be going to college, trade school, or joining our armed forces, I want to say congratulations to all of you for putting in all the work that you did. It's not an easy path. So to our graduates, I wish you well. And then for this weekend, I would invite everyone to join me up on Colfax watching the Colfax Marathon. If you're not up for watching marathons, just know that there will be some traffic diversions up there, so you may want to steer clear of Colfax. But I encourage you all to come out. It's a really exciting morning to see so much energy, and we've got lots of neighbors that line up along the street to give out good food, candy, water, oranges, all the things. So with that, I will go ahead and hand it off to Ward 5 for your ward report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. I wanted to let everyone know that we do have a ward meeting coming up this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. at Westwoods Church. We will have the sustainability manager from the city there, as well as a representative from the Metro Water Recovery Department, and we'll have some other topics as well as Q&A at the end of that. I also wanted to highlight, I had an opportunity to go to Porch Light for a tour with Councilor Cruz, which I found mind-blowing, actually, the amount of services that they provide and what they're able to do. And if I can put a plug in, it looks like they're going to be getting a major hit in funding. They are looking for additional volunteers and always looking for donations. And I think that, coupled with all of the organizations that were here tonight that were receiving grants, I think it goes without saying that they also need support. And if you're looking for an opportunity to volunteer, get involved in the community, or make a financial contribution, that's a very good list to start with. And again, to the city manager, thank you for the update on the Slash facility. I've heard from so many people about that for a while now, and obviously it's become more and more apparent with the storms that we've had that that need is definitely there. And I think it will make a lot of people happy that there's an opportunity to take Slash to that facility, as well as hopefully obtain mulch. I saw a lot of people picking up mulch over the last couple Saturdays down at the green space. So thank you for that.
Mayor, would you let me add a little more now that I have a minute to look up that email I talked about? Thank you, Councilor Nystrom. So the Tin Cup Ridge / yard schedule will be open Saturdays and Sundays from June 15th to September 8th. And we'll make sure that that's on our website. The operating hours are 9 to 4. And then beginning September 12th through October 27th, they're going to extend their collection days to Thursdays and Sundays, Thursdays through Sundays. So they're just ramping up this program, and it's Just such a wonderful program for our community. And we're going to have local municipal government free drop-off days from June 20th to October 17th. So we'll post all this information on our website. And thank you for the opportunity to add a little more detail to what I provided earlier. Thank you.
Ward 4.
So we're having our Ward 4 meeting on May 23rd at Green Mountain Rec Center at 7 o'clock in the aerobics room. So you can get your exercise and vent any issues you may have. Bring them to us on May 23rd. And just to really expand on Councilor Nystrom's comments, we heard about a lot of great organizations that deservedly received just a little bit of money. And if you were any way moved by any of the comments that were made by those people representing those organizations, do check them out, pull up their website and see how you can volunteer. Porchlight, as Councilor Nystrom mentioned, is a fantastic organization. They're having their volunteer academy starting next month. So if you go to porchlightfjc.org, you can see how you can get involved. And there's lots of other organizations in Lakewood and those that serve around Lakewood. Lakewood participates in the Veterans Metro Fair. They're always looking for help, and certainly that's a cause that folks can use. And we have 40 West Arts here, and serving this area and other areas, Mikasa Resource Center. There's not a lack of opportunities. So if you want to get involved, this was a great reminder tonight on how you can get involved.
Okay. Here we go. Okay, in our last public meeting 3 weeks ago, I wore a T-shirt that said, I stand with Israel. I was about to explain why I was wearing that when I was cut off by our Mayor Pro Tem, and we went and we adjourned. But it looks like I have the time tonight, so I will go down that list. The primary reason is that Israel shares our values, or you can say Western values. We value, excuse me, we value human rights. We value democracy. We value free speech. We value women's rights. We value gay rights. We have diverse societies here and actually Israel. We could go and live in Israel and it would be a lot like here. We could not go to Gaza and it would be like here. It would, not even close. In Israel, about 26% of the people are non-Jewish, and they have full, including many Palestinians, and they have full voting rights and citizenships. In Gaza, it's massively Muslim, with 0 Jews, basically, and 1 or 2% Christians. The Palestinians are massively homophobic. Just a year ago, a gay man was beheaded, and that's still going on. In Hebron, I mentioned women's rights, but quite simply, this council could not exist in Gaza or the West Bank or a future Palestinian state. You know why. But the fundamental difference is that most Israelis are willing to accept a Palestinian state as part of a peace deal, whereas the Palestinians are not. And so you can't have a two-state solution if one side just will not accept the other side as a state. And we saw that here 3 weeks ago with the demonstrations that were going on with when we were at adjournment, like you didn't say, or you didn't see, as the mayor said. But we had a number of people marching around chanting from the river to the sea. From the river to the sea means the complete annihilation of Israel. And you can't really actually move all the Jews. I don't know where you're going to put them. Lakewood? I don't think so. And so that's a fundamental problem there, is that they won't accept a peace deal. There's been peace deals on the table in 1947, 93, 95, 98, 2000, 2008. They all fail primarily because the Palestinians won't accept it. Arafat was offered 95% of the West Bank. I think it was in, I'm not sure which year it was, but he turned it down. It was probably right around the Six-Day War or something like that. So there's and also the first time the Palestinians came in and talked, they mentioned October 7th. They mentioned the hostages. This last time, they didn't mention them hardly at all. And so that's another major difference between us and them, in that there's a vast difference in moral scope between deliberately going into civilian areas and killing everyone you find, which is what happened on October 7th, and going after terrorists who are using civilians as shields, which is what's going on today. I mean, what's going on is wrong. There's no question. It's a disproportionate retaliation, but at the same time, there's always a disproportionate retaliation. In World War II, there was like 2 million Germans killed, German civilians, and you don't see anybody erecting a monument for them. I've seen online, or not online, on television, it was stark one time. It was a plane flying over Berlin, right, very low, right after the war, and it was just mile after mile after mile of destroyed buildings, burnout buildings. You can imagine how many civilians were killed by that. And it's a shame, but I'm going to stand with Israel on this one. I wish the war would stop. And quite simply, a final note, if Israel disarmed tomorrow, the next day there'd be another Holocaust. If the Palestinians disarmed tomorrow, the next day there would be a Palestinian state. And I think everybody should think on that. Thank you.
Ward 3. Councilor Ryan. Oh.
Sorry. Yep, I already went. Sorry. I was just playing for time. Now I remember. Sorry. Go ahead, Councilor.
All right, Ward 3, we have a ward meeting this weekend, this Saturday morning from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Really excited. We've been having a lot of conversations with community members around Ward 3, around traffic, and kind of trying to do our own straw polls everywhere we go, I think, on whether or not residents are into a speed reduction. And so we're actually going to have folks from Public Works coming to chat with our community about this issue that I know is on the minds of a lot of our Ward 3 residents. So please join. I think it should be fabulous. And I just want to highlight also that many of us were up on West Colfax this last weekend helping with the West Colfax cleanup. And I was told by the mayor, who forgot to remember the most interesting thing that we found while we were up on West Colfax. So the one that I have been holding on to for several days to share with everyone is that we found a car strut. At least Kathy Hasford told me it was a car strut. So if that's not what it was, we can blame Kathy.
Thank you. I'll double down on that Ward 3 meeting this Saturday, May 18th, at Phillips United Methodist Church, 9:30 to 10:30, at 1450 South Pierce Street. So we'll see you there. We will address other topics, but the main focus will be on speed and traffic safety, and we will have a guest from the Public Works Department who's very generously agreed to join us, who's taking the lead on a lot of the city's staff. So big thanks to them for giving an hour of their Saturday. And please join us for that. By the way, Belmar's having their 20th anniversary on Friday, May 24th, from 5 to 9 p.m. There'll be a roller rink, live music, food trucks, bouncy house, and a lot of other good stuff. So see you there. That'll be a fun way to bring in Memorial Weekend. Also in Ward 3, the city's doing Coffee with a Cop from 8 to 10 a.m. tomorrow, I believe, in the Belmar Target, I assume in the coffee shop in the Belmar Target. So that's a chance to connect with the Lakewood Police Department. And as Councilor Stewart already mentioned, we are very interested in hearing your feedback on the speed limit. As Councilor Stewart mentioned, Council's looking at what the residential speed limit should be. You can go to lakewoodtogether.org. Is where you can access that speed limit poll. So it's also been shared a number of times on social media, I think, by a bunch of us. So take the poll, let us know what you think. We're very interested in your feedback. One comment I mentioned, I've heard this just from a number of different places. I mean, one of the things that's been talked about a little bit is this question of crime and what's happening in Lakewood. I just always find it's helpful to ground these discussions in the data. Colorado has independently been compiling crime statistics by city, and this is not to suggest that there's not a problem. I think there clearly is a problem, but it's notable that both violent crime and property crime have gone down significantly over the last year. Violent crime is down about 12.5% this year over last year. Property crime is down almost 20% cumulatively over the last 2 years. Not to suggest there wasn't a spike before that, but I am encouraged that over the last 2 years, the trend line has been positive. Obviously, we'll see what happens over the next year or two. Again, not to suggest that it's not an issue or something that we should be focused on. I think it is, but I also think it's notable that the crime rate in Lakewood, and frankly, throughout much of the metro area, is trending gently down over the last year. So fingers crossed, our police department and our city is able to build on that, and we can keep getting it down next year and the year after that. Thanks so much.
Ward 2.
Thank you. I was also at the Colfax cleanup this weekend, which happened in the heart of Ward 2 on West Colfax. And I will not be there this year passing out orange slices for the Colfax Marathon that runs down Ward 2. But if that is something you want to do, reach out. Very happy to connect you with one of our neighborhood or local organizations that is handing out water and orange slices along Colfax this weekend. I also wanted to give a special shout out to 40 West Arts District. And in June of this year, which is just in 2 weeks, the first Friday in June is going to be Pride themed 40 West. There's going to be a lot of additional celebratory opportunities in 40 West. There's going to be music, and I think there's going to be some additional activities, and I know that they've been continuing to expand what's available for First Fridays over many years, and so I think that this is their first or second properly themed Pride Month celebration in Lakewood, which is very wonderful and exciting. I think I had one more thing on my list. Oh, and our ward meeting is this Saturday. Sorry, it's because everybody has gone. Our ward meeting is this Saturday at 3 p.m. at Lakewood United Methodist Church. We have invited the chief of Lakewood Police and some other members of our police force in order to have a more holistic community discussion about public safety and what that really means, both in terms of some traditional policing tactics, but also as we continue to innovate and think about reducing the need for crimes of survival and kind of what those lines are, how those things work together, and in particular, this current police department's sort of take and strategy on those things, and an opportunity, of course, for there to be questions and feedback from the community more directly, which I think is hopefully will be more the start. It sounds like we're doing this in lots of places, so I hope we're just a part of the sort of recatalyzing of this conversation and amount of collaboration between community and Lakewood for public safety.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, excited. We'll also be joined by Mr. Ginsburg of Recovery Work, so it'll be a fun time. Looking forward to that conversation and kind of building off of the Pride events. They are going to be kicking off Pride at the Hub at 6501 West Colfax this Saturday. So if you want an extra long Pride month, check out the Pride festivities coming up in Ward 2 this Saturday. Yeah, and I think, I appreciated that Councilor Nystrom shouted out Porchlight. Other folks did too. I think that was a wonderful tour, and if folks give also, but if folks need those services too, it was really amazing to see what one of only 2 family justice centers look like. If you've ever been somebody who has sought help or been somebody who's worked in systems, you know how fragmented our systems can be, and it's really powerful to see what happens when you bring people together and make things that much easier in a time that is really, really challenging for people and their families. So really proud that Lakewood has one of 2 in the state. And yeah, finally, just wanted to share that for folks who know, I am doing like a continuing education. I'm in a graduate school program, and so I will not be on the dais in June, but I will be at study sessions and in other places. So I will be taking a tiny bit of a break, but I'll still be here. So see you mostly in July.
Ward 1.
Well, I have a lot. So we had our ward meeting, we had it all planned at our regular time for Saturday, and then the church needed to bump us a bit, so we were happy to adjust our schedule for 1 o'clock, so we did that Saturday the 4th. Because of other scheduling conflicts then too, we will not be having our first Saturday meeting in June, but we will be having office hours June 14th. That's a Friday morning. We'll be having it here. The room upstairs, 9:30 to 10:30. So we'll be having that. I did email Councilor Strom, and I didn't know what Mayor Strom. I didn't know what she was going to say today, but here it's like a book report, only it's a magazine. So we get this magazine from the Colorado Municipal League, and maybe you can see that it says civility here. And Mayor Strom referred to that. And I just love these articles here. And I just wanted to talk about that a minute because the teacher background in me is like, well, what does that mean anyway? And on the Colorado Municipal League website, cml.org, they've got 8 different principles. And I just wanted to highlight one that we've all seen and we all need to identify as, oh yeah, that's what civility looks like. And so the way they put it is that we always need to focus on the issues, not the people, and focus on the issues in a factual way, not just based on our opinion. So we'll stand a much better chance of having a well-rounded decision as we face tough issues, and we focus on those issues. Of course, our whole country, our city, we have tough issues, but always we as a council, you as, there's a few staff here, and constituents, residents, we all need to just focus on the issues in a respectful sort of way. That's one thing that civility looks like. And again, I encourage you to go to the website cml.org, and there's a total, like I said, of 8 different principles that you can kind of like wrap your head around. What is civility anyway? And so here the flag is planted, and I just might say, hey, wait a minute, let's focus on the issues, not the people. So that's just my sermon. I told her I wouldn't be preachy, and maybe that bordered line on that. But anyway, thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Counselor. And I think this is an excellent moment to bring up a reminder of this lovely plaque that we have in the back of our room that I believe it says, I can't see because of the light, but the top line I believe is to be tough on the issues, but soft on the people. That's what we're here for. So thank you, Councilor Sinks, for reiterating that message. And seeing no further business this evening, I will go ahead and adjourn our regular meeting at 8:31 p.m.